Once we finish with today's orientation, I'll save the file and send it out so that it can be given to anyone who has any questions or missed today's meeting. So today we're going to do a basic orientation. For the sake of time, if you have any questions, please save them for the end. It may be that I answer them over the course of our call. Tangelique, if there's anything you'd like me to touch on that I missed, go ahead and let me know.
I will do that. Thank you.
All right. So what everyone is looking at here is the property inventory page. I'm starting in one of the newer companies. I believe it's SJ Financial. And I'd just like to point out that what we're going to be working in today are with these demo properties. It looks like there's a property already existing in this company, which is great, but we won't interfere with someone's actual listing. So we're going to start by just looking at Buildout and seeing what's available for you as a user. So if you go to Account, Profile, this is the normal user profile. So you're going to notice that there are a couple of tabs up here. You've got your profile, biography, syndication, email, and permissions. Permissions is more of an admin section, so I think we'll sort of start with the profile and work out from there. So in here is where you have your login, your email, and your password. Your password can be changed at any time once you log in. I understand that everyone already has profiles that have been made. And in here is where you enter in all the information that you want to appear on your documents or materials in Buildout. So you have your job title, whether you want to enter in your license or any of your social media, and your profile photo, which is important. If you look to the biography tab, this is where you can enter in all the information that would appear on your bio. So if you wanted to include information in here, if you wanted to create different sections for education and memberships, you can do that as well. Next up is syndication, and this is a list of all the syndications that Buildout pushes to. So if you have an existing account with them, you can enter it in here. If you'd like to sign up for any of these syndication channels so you can push them, you can do that here too. And lastly is the email provider. Buildout will allow you to push out your information through email. If you have accounts with MailChimp, Constant Contact, iContact, or Human Media, you can hook them up here. So that's the user profile. Let's go back to the property inventory page, which is where you can see all of your listings. If you look over to the left here, you'll see that there are a number of ways where you can sort your listings in Buildout based on their status, their availability, or what kind of property type they are. You can also type into this search bar up here to find a specific listing. So let's say I want to find Moby Building. There it is. And I'm going to go ahead and click on this. And now we're going to take a look at an individual property listing. So before we were in the property inventory page, and this is sort of the central page for an individual listing. So I'm going to start by going to the property edit form. I'm clicking on this edit property button up here, and it opens up the property edit form. Now this is the central place where you're going to enter in information for any of your properties. This is where you put everything in so that I can push out to all of the Buildout connections. So let's start by looking at the very top. These are a couple of very important settings, so I'm going to point them out specifically. There's this checkbox here that says proposal. If you check this box, it means that it is private to whoever has created it. So if this is checked, it means that it's not going to be pushed to the SperryCGA plugin. You can't put it through an email, and it's not going to be visible to anyone else in Buildout. It is a private listing. Now let's say you've completed the listing, you want to make it public, you would uncheck proposal, and you have the option to connect syndication. Now if you check this, it means that Buildout is going to push this information to any of the connected syndications. If you don't check that, it means that it won't show up on any of those things that you've connected. So let's move down to the next section. Here's where you would put in any brokers that are on the listing. So you'll notice that this first field, the primary broker, is yellow. And any field that looks like that means that it's a required field, meaning that if you want to make a listing in Buildout, those fields have to be filled in. So you have the option to add in anyone who's currently in the company account. So right now there's only Stephen, which is why he's the only one showing up. Now there's another thing I want to show you here. You have the distinction to choose between someone in my office or someone in another office. What this basically means is that if you click Other Office, you can try to add a broker from someone who's outside your company. So let's say you wanted to add our VP of Client Services, John Krause. Now this is going to come up. It says no matching brokers found. Now if you want to, you can we can set up the feature so that you can request a broker from outside of your company. As it stands right now, this means that you can select someone from someone else within the SperryCGA umbrella. So let's move to the next section. This is location. Again, you're going to see a lot of required fields. Pretty basic stuff. You have the option to hide the address if you prefer not to show your client. And then there's this next section, which is quite important. It's the override map location section. So when you enter this in, we get all of our location information from Google. But sometimes Google doesn't always get their map pin right. Maybe it's not displaying exactly where you want it, or maybe they have it on the other side of the street. If you want to change where it's displaying, you just click that box. You can grab the pin and put it whatever you want it to be. So let's scroll down to the property section. Now right here is where you would select what kind of property type you have. So we have a number of property types that are available in Buildout and a number of subtypes that are associated with that. And that can just be helpful for labeling it in Buildout and for the other fields that are going to populate. So because this is an office listing, I have a specific amount of fields that are showing up here. But if I chose, for example, multifamily, the fields that are available have changed. So it's just important to note that that's how you determine what's available to you in Buildout. So moving down, we have building information, number of fields available. We get down, we have a unit mix. You can choose to include a rent roll or a unit mix. Any of this information can be entered in. It'll push to your documents in Buildout, which I'll show you later. Next is availability. Now, because I have this selected for multifamily, only for sale is available. But it's important to note that if you choose office, both availabilities will be there for you to choose from. Multifamily only has for sale because multifamily for lease is residential, not commercial. You also have the listing expirations, which some brokers find useful for tracking their listings. Because we have for sale selected, the sale section is showing up. Now this is good because you can select what kind of availability you have. You can mark a listing as more than just on market. The sale title information. And then down here, this is an important section to cover. These are financials. Buildout allows you to enter in as many financial statements as you'd like. Right now, we're looking at the basic financial portion. If you click on this, you can open up the financial statement. By clicking on these check fields, you can open up the breakdowns for income, expenses, and loans. Based on the information you enter in here, numbers will be calculated down below. There's loan amounts, scheduled income, and all of these fields will populate to the financial items that are in our documents. You can also choose to add another financial statement if you choose to. And now we're down to the media section. Now, if you say, let's say you filled out all this information, all your financials are there, before you do anything with media, always save your property. Sometimes when you go in, you start adding in photos, let's say you have 5 or 30 even, adding them all at once, sometimes your machine can time out and you lose all that information you've entered in. Buildout doesn't save as you go. You have to save it every time you make a change if you want it to stay there. So we recommend filling in the information, saving the property, and then coming back in and adding photos, maybe 2 or 3 at a time, just to make sure that all your information is being saved properly. If you have a video for your listing, you can add it in here. We also have a syndication with Matterport if anyone has any 3D videos that they'd like to add. So you made all those changes. Let's save the property. So next, let's look at some of the documents that are available. So if you click on New Document, this window is going to pop up. And on here you can see all of the documents that are available to use. So let's say we want to create an offering memorandum. Click on this. It's going to take a minute for the system to open, but once it does, we'll be in the document editor. Okay, so this is the Buildout document editor. It's important to remember that everything we put into the property edit form, the form we were just looking at, all of that information is going to push here. So as we open this up, you'll see that there is a branding already in place with headers and footers that are specific to Sperry Commercial. So let's start by just looking at a couple of these pages. This is what we call a cover page. It's designated for the front of the document. It usually has photos and information. Now I'm hovering over this blue bar, and I just clicked on this drop down, and this is what we call a layout. So if I pick one photo, the document is changed, and now it's a different layout for this page. So choosing a layout can be important depending on what kind of listing you have. And then next to it, we have this options dropdown. Now using this option allows you to change certain aspects on the layout. For example, now you're displaying the affiliate specific logo on the cover page if you wanted to designate it. So let's move down. You have section dividers because this is an OM. And then let's start looking at some of these information-specific pages. So Buildout generates a number of information pages based on the information we put into the property edit form. For example, you can see that there are a number of fields populating here, as well as text and bullets. We have a couple of layouts that are available on the executive summary page, which can be chosen as they best fit the listing. Now, as you can see, there's an additional map on this page. And I'd just like to point out that as you hover over it, there's another little blue box where you can select the kind of map that displays. You can choose what kind of map type it is. Right now it's on road, but you could choose hybrid if you prefer it, and the zoom level. So there are a couple different pages. They're all available for you to choose from. But I'd just like to point out, maybe you've got an executive summary page, you're already displaying the bullets, you don't need to show them a second time on these pages. What you can do is click on this little X over here, and now the page is gone. It's not in the page order anymore. Let's say later down the line you think, you know what, I need another page that has those bullets. You can go to the page library. And all of the pages that are available in this page order that show up by default are available down here. So if you delete something and you decide you need to get it back, you can grab onto this page and pull it back up. And now it's a part of the document again. Let's look at photos. So this is the additional photos page. This is basically a page where you can show as many or as few photos as you want. We have a number of layouts that are available by default. And you notice that there's another blue bar where you can edit things. You've got fill, fit, stretch, center. You can rotate it, or you can choose to change the image. So if you click on that, you can pick from any of the photos that are available in the media section that you added in the property edit form. Okay, next, let's look at the map section. So besides the little maps that are included on any of your information pages, there are a number of map pages to choose from. So we've got the regional map, regular location maps. These have a number of layouts that are available. And then there's a special map in particular that I'd like to demonstrate for everyone because this is one of the features most of our clients are usually pretty excited for. It's called the retailer map. So you'll notice that at the moment it's blank, but if you click onto Edit Map, this editor shows up. So we pull in this information from Google Places. So what's going to happen is any retailers or businesses in the surrounding area are going to show up here. And you can choose a couple of them, and they'll show up here. Now what you can do is go to any of these selected, and let's say you want to add in a logo. What you can do is click Replace the Image, and you can go onto the internet and pick up a logo from any of the available places. Google is usually a good place to start. Now you'll notice that none of these retailers start with logos. That's because retailer logos are copyright protected, and as a matter of law, we can't provide them to you. But once you put it in and you enter it into a Starbucks, it's going to show up for every Starbucks from that point onward throughout the company. So once you do that, it's important to note that you have a number of capabilities available for this page once you add a couple of retailers. If you grab a logo, see how that cursor turns into a four-pointed star instead of a mouse? You can pull logos. If you click on a logo, you can customize the style. Right now, it's a specific kind of bubble, but users have the capability. There we go. To increase the marker size, change the padding. Maybe you want the padding to be smaller. You can change the colors, the width, what color the font is. Maybe you want it to be bolded. These are all things that are available just for the retailers themselves. If you look over here, you can zoom in or out on the map. And then we have a couple of capabilities that are available. One of these is the drawing capability. So let's say you zoom in a bit and you want to outline a specific lot. I'm not an artist, but what you do is click and drag it. And when the cursor changes from this little X to the pointer again, you can connect it. And just like that, you now have a box on the map that you can edit or move around. You also have the ability to change the colors there. So if you want it to match the branding colors, you can change it to blue. If you want to change the color, maybe you want the background to be totally clear, like you don't want a filler color, you can change it like so. You also have the ability to add random text boxes. So you don't just have to include text for retailers, you can also do sort of a call out. Now you have a lot of the same capability you have with the drawing. You can change the colors and the font style. You can enter in any text you want. Okay. It's also important to note that unlike the other maps, you can grab and drag with this if you prefer to change the alignment so that it isn't centered. It is important to note that none of the other maps have this capability. If you want to drag a map or you want to add a retailer or draw on it, it has to be done on the retailer map. So we're going to save that. And it's going to take a minute to render. And there you go. Next up is the financial section. Now you might remember all of the information we entered into the financial section of the property edit form. It's all going to populate here. And we have a number of pages that are available for that. Up on the top here, you'll see that there's a gear where you can choose the financial statements. So if you added more than one, you could choose which ones display on this page. You also have the ability to display comps. Now, it is important to note that you have to add them in order to be able to use them, but on this page, if you had any comps entered in, you could click Edit Sales Comps, add another one, and any sales comps or rent comps you had entered into the system would be available to choose and sort from. Next up, we have demographics. Buildout pulls in all the demographics from the United States 2010 census. Now we realize that's not very recent since it's 2017, And I'll show you how to override those so that they'll show up on the document in just a moment. And then we have the bios. That bio information that we looked at earlier in the call today, all of that's going to populate here. There are a couple of things to point out before we go back to the property listing page. If you have a PDF and you want to include in your document, you could do that in a number of different ways. Sometimes people have altered photos or special maps or marketing information that they want to include. You can either include something as a PDF document, which means you'll be entering it in exactly as it is, or you can choose to add something in with a PDF with header footer page. And this page is important because it's essentially a blank page with the header footer design so that the page that you enter in matches the other page's branding. So you can select upload PDF content and make that available to the document. What's important to note is to maintain the integrity of the PDF, it's going to be imported exactly as is. So we're not going to add any white space to the top or bottom to allow for the PDF with header footer design. So whenever you're entering something into this page, it's important to leave white space at the top and bottom so that there's no overlap. Okay. So we're going to click Done Editing. We're done working on the document. And now we're back at the property listing page. There are just a few things I'd like to point out. So this is sort of the central hub for this specific listing. And there are a couple of tabs here that deal with this listing specifically. So if you look at syndication, if the broker on the listing has any syndications connected and they have Connect Syndication checked, this is where you could track the status of that, whether something was uploading or successfully done. Once you have an email provider connected, you'll be able to generate property-specific marketing via the email. We also have Craigslist available. Not everyone uses Craigslist, but if you're interested in adding this plugin to your browser, that's available. Just ask our support team. And then one of the things we have is the individual property website. So once you create a document, let's go over here. Let's say we want this document to show up on the property website, which I'll open up so everyone can see. So essentially, each listing has their own property website with all that information we entered into the property edit form, all the text information, photos, map location, and the availability to contact the broker. What you can do is go to your document, and there's this button called Access. If you click on this, you can say you want to make it primary, show it on the website, or lock it in the vault. We're going to start with how to make it primary. So you're going to make it primary, save the changes, and it's going to change so that it's got this little star next to it now. If you go back to this page, you go back to the overview, you'll now see that there's a button so that if you choose to send this to a client and you make that document primary, they can click this button to download the OM that you just made. Now, sometimes people have more private listings, and that's what this vault is for. So we have a couple of vaults that are available. There's the simple vault and the restricted vault. And it's the capabilities are what it says. You can either make it so that it's protected by a single password, or you can make it so that the document is only available to specific users. Depending on what you choose, now it's been locked. If you go to the access, because it's been made primary, it's still going to show up on the website. But if you click lock it in the vault, that means that this document is only going to be available on the website if someone fills in that password. So let's save those changes, and now it's not primary, it's locked. Go back to the property website, and it's not available anymore. And if you go to the Documents tab, you have to enter in a password that you set right here so that someone can access it. Okay, So one of the other things that you can do with the property website is this is what's available for users when they go to the plugin. So I have the SperryCGA plugin open in another tab, but as you can see, the Bramblett Hills Apartments, this is an on-market for sale listing. Anything you make on market, so not a proposal, is going to show up on this public plugin. So it's a way to get the information out to any visitors to the website. So if I search for Bramblett, it's available. Now, if this was a proposal, that basically means it's not going to show up on this plugin. So if you want to keep a listing private from the public, make it a proposal, and that way you can still operate within the listing. It just won't show up anywhere on the web. Okay, and the last thing I want to go over is that demographic stuff. Now, one of the tabs that's available in the property listing page is demographics. Now, this is where you can set the radii for where you want the reporting area to be. It's where all this information is going to populate based on. You've got the intervals 1, 2, and 3, which you can change to update the radius. But as I said earlier, this is pulling from the 2010 census, which isn't the most recent resource. So if you decide you want to use your own demographics resource, just click Override Values, and all of these fields will become editable. Now, it's important to note that this cannot be edited on the document. It has to be done here at the Demographics tab. And while we're on that subject, I would just like to point out that working in the documents is not going to update the property edit form. If you want a change made to the property, update the property edit form so that it'll push out to all of the available channels. That means email, website, syndication, everything. If you update something on the document, but don't change it on the property edit form, it's not going to update on everything. And in fact, updating something on the document, not updating it on all of the items that are available, will actually break this page so that it'll no longer accept information from the property edit form. So the best recommendation that I can give as you're working in Buildout, make sure you are always updating the property edit form. Updating the document will not give you all of the changes. Okay. Last thing, here's where you can add comps to the system. Just click New Sale Comp or New Lease Comp, and it'll show up in the documents for you to add to those pages. Okay, I think that's a pretty good orientation. Why don't we open up the floor to any questions, or Tangelique, if you think there's anything we should go over together as part of the system.
And Marie, first of all, I want to make sure that you have everyone muted.
Yes, it looks like everyone is muted.
Okay, we're getting a lot of feedback. I guess maybe it's coming from your office.
It must be. One moment. I'll ask that everyone respect the quiet. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Shut up.
I'm going to have her just show you what other capabilities beyond an OM as far as our flyers, an external flyer, the internal flyer that we use for our Tuesday morning calls, and even an owner's report that you can generate. And just as a reminder, what she mentioned is if you have those CoStar accounts, even RealNext or LoopNet, once you change it in the property edit form, it's automatically going to push it out to those sites and change that information there. So you don't have to go to those sites to change it. It automatically pushes it out to whatever syndication channels you have connected to it.
Does that include Excel?
You would have to check if you can input your own or the ones that she had listed.
Excel. Is this being recorded? Can you actually be the same?
Yes, we're getting it.
And then so tomorrow you're going to get it.
Yes.
So you would have to give Excelligent a license to this house.
Are you certain about the coaster on LoopNet? Because our experience has been that that's the two that we can't syndicate to.
Because before,
We'll check with them, but I'm
with SVN,
So I
was
was
able to with that website build
And I like
it was some
same.
SVN relationship. We weren't allowed to do that.
Yeah, we'll ask them, but from my understanding, yeah. I hope that's the case anyways.
Hi, everyone. I've asked our team to try to keep the noise down a little bit. If it gets too loud again, please let me know, and I'll wave my arms and ask everyone to keep it down.
Okay, Anne-Marie, we had just real quick 2 questions. One, as we move forward, I'd like for you to just show them the available, the other documents they can create in terms of a flyer, owner's report, etc.
Sure.
And then that we branded, I know we have like an internal flyer and external flyer. And then also, if you can clarify that on that syndication, if it utilizes CoStar and LoopNet, does it push out to those?
Yes. CoStar, yes. LoopNet does not accept outside syndications. So just on the whole, LoopNet does not accept automatic updates.
What about Excelligent?
Excelligent does, yes.
It means that if you change information in that property edit form, it will push that change that you just made, you went back and made, to wherever you syndicated it to, meaning wherever, if you send it to CoStar, it's going to push that 1-digit change that you made, so you don't have to go to that site and change it there.
Exactly. So what's going to happen is once you send in a CoStar or Excelligent rep to our support team, which you can do by either sending us an email at support@buildout.com or by using this little black feedback tab. Any messages you send in here will go directly to our support team. Send us your CoStar or Excelligent reps, and we can enter their emails in. And then when you do that, there will be a button over here that says email your rep. And what you can do is just click on that and send off an email to your representative, and it'll include all the information that's been updated for that listing.
So on the build-outs, on the Sperry site right now, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I guess mobile, is it mobile friendly right now, or is it not?
Is it actually, we are in the process of updating the plugin to be mobile, which is something I'd hope to talk to Tangelique about after our call today. We have just created a new mobile responsive version of the plugin, which we will be updating as soon as we have a time set aside to do that won't be inconvenient to the website.
And then my second question is, if affiliates have their own website, could we work with Buildout to implement our properties in that website?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's available to you as a company under the SperryCGA umbrella? What's going to happen is your properties will push to the complete SperryCGA plugin, but as a company in your own right, you have the availability to have your own company-specific plugin, so that once we install it on your own website, let me see if I can open this up.
Sperry Commercial has it done as well.
Yep. So you'll have your own plugin set. So that includes inventory, featured properties, and the broker plugin.
For your office. Okay, Anne-Marie, if you could then just show them the other capabilities to build out as far as those flyers and other documents.
Sure. So if you go to a listing, and I'm going to go ahead and update this particular property to be both sale and lease. It's important to note that there are going to be some documents that are only available for sale and some that are only available for lease, like a lease brochure won't be available for a sale listing. You open this up, and here's the full library of documents that are available. So you have various sale and lease documents, and then a couple of internal flyers. Let's open up an internal on-market flyer.
That's for our Tuesday morning, where we put in for our Tuesday morning sales meetings. So this is what you would just send.
The PDF.
Yep. For the presentation.
And it creates a slide.
It creates it. Yep. Based on the information that you have put in.
So then the Tuesday morning slides are through Buildout.
Correct.
It's very easy stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's good.
Okay.
And then should you choose to send that out to anyone, and I'll go ahead and make this not admin only. In order to send it out to someone, you can click here and you'll be rendering the document. And what that essentially is doing is changing the document from being in the edit form to being its own PDF. So once it's done rendering, you'll see how this document will look once you send it out to someone. And the best way to send it to anyone is to link it. Like if you're not using an email and you're not using a website, sending them this link won't work. This is a link that's going to expire in about 24 hours. The best way to do it is to click on this link button, and it'll give you a unique document URL, which you can copy or send to anyone you choose. There's also the internal closed flyer listing.
So for Tuesday morning meetings as well for your closings.
Okay.
And then there are the postcards, brochures, flyers. Tangelique, did we want to look at any of these together specifically?
Is the postcard is something that would be on the email blast?
Could you repeat the question? I think part of it, I didn't hear the middle bit.
Is the postcard, so this is for a hard mail postcard design versus an email blast?
Yes, so this is for an actual physical postcard that someone would print out. If we want, I can pull up another Sperry company and we can take a look at what the email will look like once an email provider is added.
I think that's okay because I'm not sure that we have who's updated or provided those email accounts, you know?
Sure.
I don't know that we have ours in there, but it is possible. And I know there's also an owner's report. I don't know how often that's done, but maybe you could show that real quick, just at least what the capabilities are in terms of an owner's report.
Yes. So one of the items we have available is the owner's report, which we find clients often use to demonstrate their marketing capability for a listing. So we have the standard cover page, sort of editable cover letter type page, prospect report, marketing efforts, email
So it would
report.
list like pages and all of that right there. Show the web page, etc.
And I believe the editability for this page is if you send out an email from this tab, once you connect an email provider, any emails that you send through there will show up in this marketing report automatically. And then we have all the syndications that you use. We have a couple options to hide whichever ones you aren't using. If there are specific syndications that your office uses that you would like to have available as a marketing channel, just let us know. Send us in a logo and the name of whatever you want to use, and we can add it so that it's available here. And then we have a couple of sample marketing pages. Just a good way to show a client of yours, what they're getting when they sign on with your company. Biographies, you'll note, are available in the page library, but not in the default page order.
And it's important to remember you can go in and put in your bio and know that that is the same bio that populates to the SperryCGA website. So you want to make sure that's current on your profile.
Absolutely. Okay. Any other questions?
Anyone have any questions? I think we're good, Anne-Marie.
Actually, we have a question.
Wait, we have one.
Okay.
Yeah, in the demographics field,
Yes.
where you override the info, can you add info, other lines, items? Ever did you hear that?
No. At the moment, we don't have the capability to add additional rows. If that's something that you anticipate needing, you can reach out to our support team, and we can see if we can design an additional layout for the demographics page that will allow you to edit rows. What's important to note is that it's going to make it a little tougher to track where your values are coming from if they aren't all coming from the same place.
And is it true that if he has information from another source and that he can input that as a PDF page and bring it in that way?
Yes. If you have demographics as an image or as a PDF, you can bring it into the document by using the PDF with header footer or the PDF document page.
Becca, did you have anything, Rich?
Emery, one question for you. In the room right here, we have several of our new affiliates. These are all independently owned and operated brokerage firms who have become a part of the Sperry Commercial Global Affiliates and have given us a great demonstration. My question is at least from my perspective, I could not possibly have captured all of this in this 45 minutes. What can they do if they go back to their offices and want to start working on this? What kind of support do you provide?
Sure. So one of the nice things about our meeting today is I'm going to be saving this video file and sending it out to Tangelique so that people who have missed this meeting or don't quite remember everything we talked about can go back through this video and see how these things are done. It's also important to note that we have an entire client services support team here at Buildout that can be reached through the methods I mentioned, support@buildout.com or the feedback tab. And if they have any questions at all about how the system works, our team is ready and waiting to help. There are a couple of things for our independent users that I'd just like to point out. You would add a new property by going up to this button right here, and you could fill in a new property directly. You click on this button, and you can fill in that information, that property edit form we all looked at together. But if they have an Excel or spreadsheet of all of their existing listings, what they can do is send that into support. And if it's more than 20 listings, 20 or 30, I believe is the cutoff, we can enter it all in one go. Now that's probably going to take at least a standard week to do because it has to go through our development team in order to upload it. But we understand that sometimes if they have 30, 40, 50 listings, entering them all in by hand can be very daunting. So that is available for people who have a spreadsheet containing all of their listing information.
Do you have a sample spreadsheet of the, I guess, the columns that you're needing?
We do, and I can send that out as well, but it's important to note that it's just going to be the more information, the better. So we don't usually give that out because we don't want people to feel like they have to meet that standard of the sample. Just send over whatever information you have, as much information as you have, and we'll see what we can do. We don't want people to feel like they have to fill out this example exactly, or we won't be able to help. We can help.
No, but if like we have columns with line items, at least we know what you're gonna put. Just kind of help guide.
Sure, and we'll send that out with the video file.
All right. Anything else? Will there be other design layouts in the future, or?
So you'll find that most of the Buildout default pages have their own built-in layouts. So, let's see, where did that? Let me close out some of these additional pages. So if you go into the OM is a good example. Almost all of the build-out pages have several layouts that are available. If you find like you're working on the executive summary page and it's just not the combination of information that you really need for the listing, you can send in send in a request to support@buildout.com, and our people will try to build a layout to fit whatever information setup it is that you're asking for. Or we might have, we might know of another page or another layout that would work better for the situation that you're describing. Essentially, what the client services team is to you guys is sort of build out experts. So if you're like, okay, well, what's the best way to display this, or how do I display bullets with text, with photos? You could write into support and someone's going to write back and say, all right, well, this page is a good fit, or we could build a new layout on this page. Now, we'll probably copy Tangelique on that, just because any changes we make to the system, like to this page, will be made across the board. So it's important that any design changes we make are approved by Tangelique. But if you're looking at a page and you're not seeing the layout that you need, or the information that you filled in isn't populating the way you want it to, write into support and we'll see what we can do.
Great. Anne-Marie, thank you so much. It was wonderful, very educational.
All right, excellent. I'm glad to hear it.
Thank you, Anne-Marie.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Okay.
You too.